welcome our next speaker. And I'm wholeheartedly welcoming Jen Slaw because, Jen, welcome, by the way. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We have a somberness over today that we are all sharing. But I know my own personal life that we all want to go on with our lives, and we want to always remember that good prevails, and the stronger we stay internally, the better it is for the whole world, so that we can carry all that good with us. And so we're wrapping up today's program with Jen Slaw. Jen is going to adapt her program a little bit. And Jen, I don't mind if you give us a little bit maybe of imaginary work of what you do. Thank you.
Okay, Diane, thanks for having me. So, as Diane said, my job is to wrap up today and, give you some strategies for staying nimble in these trying times. And as I said on our pre-call, I kind of felt like juggling is a little too light for the heaviness that we're all dealing with right now. And then I thought of a story from one of the first times that I volunteered with Juggling Life, which is a charity that I now direct that uses juggling and performance arts to engage, inspire, and empower ill and underprivileged youth. And we were partnering with an organization called Homefront in Trenton that helps families dealing with homelessness. And we were brought in to work with some young girls who were struggling with homelessness to teach them how to juggle, to teach them some performing skills as a way to empower them and help them to redefine what's possible in their lives. And when I saw the transformation, in their whole body language, their whole attitude in a short period of time, going from I can't juggle to, seeing that there was this possibility of something they didn't think they could do, I started to see that, this little tool of learning how to juggle could have such a bigger impact and could really translate into the powerful ability to see that something we once thought impossible is achievable. So it's really been a tool that has allowed me to connect and engage with people. And I think that's what we need right now, to hopefully make a difference. And as Diane said, another aspect is taking into account our own health and well-being and balance, and how do we keep ourselves fulfilled and keep that sense of purpose in mind so that we can move forward and serve others in these difficult times. So I'd love to share a little bit of, what I've experienced with you. I'd love to see your cameras on. So for those of you, you're event planners, some of you guys are planning virtual meetings, and that the engagement level goes to another level when we see those faces. So go ahead and turn those cameras on, because I'd love to see who's here today. There we go. I see some smiling faces. Excellent. Surprise. I see Anne Sophie, who is someone that I knew from years ago. So I'm so happy to see you there. It's wonderful to see those faces. So how many of you, feel that you're juggling a lot right now? Just go ahead and in the chat, type in a Y for yes or an N for no. Why you feel like you're juggling more juggling balls that you can handle. Okay, I'm seeing some yeses. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely, Bonnie. Yes, we're all juggling more than ever before. I'm going to go ahead and share some slides with you. There we go. Everybody seeing that? There we go. So that's my little guy, my son, and we're all juggling. We're all juggling the demands of work and family. And what I want to do, in our short time together today is just wrap up with inviting you to think like a juggler and really looking at how can you embrace the idea of continuous learning, continuous improvement, to never stop tweaking and refining to move forward amidst all this change. And to really, be aware that, yes, the ball could drop, and we want to do as much as we can to keep that from happening. And we want to pick it up when it does drop and learn what went wrong and make an adjustment for the next attempt. However, we don't want to be afraid to let go of the ball. We want to be able to move forward. So there we go. Just checking out those slides. Okay. So are you seeing the overwhelm and fear slide? Okay. Because I'm not seeing the slides right now. So Diane, could you just let me know that the slides are, or Jim, that the slides are up?
Yeah, Jen, I don't see that. I just see your home slide, and I don't see the next one. So
just see the home
there
slide.
we go. Okay, we've got it now. Now
Cool.
You're seeing overwhelm and fear?
Yep.
Great. Okay. So what we want to do is really look at, with all this change, with all this uncertainty, so many of us find ourselves in a place of overwhelm and fear. And what we want to do is look at how do we move from that place of overwhelm and fear to a place of creative exploration where we can start to innovate and come up with new creative solutions. And the way I see it, there's three components. There's embracing continuous learning and improvement so that, as I said, we're always understanding more and tweaking and refining. There's looking at how can we integrate our work and our lives more effectively so that we become more resilient to handle all these changes and we feel more balanced and more fulfilled. And then there's collaboration. How can we work together to come up with those new creative solutions? And because we have such a short time together, we're going to focus today just on that piece of continuous learning and improvement, of always learning and understanding at a deeper level. So what I want you to invite you to do today is to embrace the juggler's mindset, as I call it, which really has three components. And this is how we can enhance the learning process. And we can really look at breaking existing patterns and building new ideas. So three components. We have to have a clear goal. We have to understand what we're trying to achieve and how can we break that down. We have to really embrace a growth mindset where we believe that our skills can be cultivated through practice and through effort, and that failure is really an opportunity for us to grow, that I can learn to do anything, that feedback is constructive. And then we have to look at how can we put deliberate practice into place, as we call it in the juggling world. We're open to feedback. We maybe have a mentor. We have that clear goal defined, and we're willing to step outside of our comfort zones to achieve something new. So I learned how to juggle in the 6th grade, and this is a photo of my middle school juggling club, which I'm sure you can imagine is the really cool club to be in middle school. But this teacher here, sitting down with the 3 red juggling balls, he taught our class how to juggle as a lesson in focus and concentration. And so from the very start, of learning how to juggle, and I won't go into my whole story, but from the very start of learning how to juggle, I saw that there were other principles, that these principles of juggling could apply to our lives in different ways. So, this took me on a journey, and eventually I came up with this ball formula, which I'd love to share with you today. It's called BALL. I love acronyms. So I really want to invite you to just embrace these 4 principles today moving forward. We start juggling with a single ball. BALL. Break it down, ask for help, learn from the drops, and let it go. And you can see these 4, simple principles, when applied to our lives and work, can really have a transformative effect on what we can achieve and what we can discover. So just really quickly, I'll touch on each component. Break it down. We don't start juggling. If I'm going to start juggling, 3 balls, I don't start with all 3. I start with 1 ball and I take it 1 step at a time so that I can focus on one thing at a time and really build that skill before moving on to the next. So in these days of total overwhelm, how can we break down, what we have to do and take it 1 step at a time? And how can we focus and prioritize what's important versus what's urgent and ongoing struggle? And then how can we connect the dots of all of those things that we have to juggle? So if you look at juggling, it's not only about the throws, but it's about this and the catches, but it's about the space between the throws. So you can see that if I throw 1 ball particularly high up in the air, I wait longer before releasing the next ball. So it really becomes a fun project to look at how are those balls connected in your own life. And there might be different ways that the different things you're juggling are connected. And of course, that pattern will be different for each of us. So really looking at how do we break it down, and then how do we build it back up and put that puzzle together in a way that helps us to feel more balanced. Asking for help, of course, this can be difficult and so important in times of change and uncertainty to really reach out. I mean, that's why a lot of you are here today, to learn from each other. How can we collaborate? How can we build those connections? And how can we communicate more effectively so that we understand our own team? How does our own team learn, work, and communicate so that we can utilize those strengths moving forward to come up with innovative ideas as we navigate this totally unknown world of events moving forward? And then it's really building that mutual respect and trust, because that's where innovation will come from. That innovation will happen when we build an environment where everyone feels trusted and respected and supported, and then can contribute their ideas. Learn from the drops. So this is a key. We have to start, we have to analyze, and then we have to practice. So we start, we let go of the ball. One of the first things we do when I'm teaching how to juggle is we throw the ball up in the air, throw, and instead of catching them, we throw, drop. And then we look down, we see where they landed, we pick them back up, and we make an adjustment for the next attempt. So important to really embrace this idea that, our mistakes are stepping stones to our success if we can really analyze what went wrong and make an adjustment for the next attempt. And then that leads us to a process or a system moving forward. And then finally, let it go. We need to let go of old patterns that are holding us back, letting go of unrealistic expectations and patterns that may not be working anymore in this new environment. We need to see what we can personally delegate, automate, or eliminate, and sometimes embrace that idea that done is better than perfect, because perfection doesn't really exist. And while we're striving to be the best we can be, we have to acknowledge that that can sometimes lead to procrastination if we're honest with ourselves. And then, of course, it's just letting go and having that mindset shift where the obstacles that we face now become opportunities for learning, change, and growth. So I want everybody to just say that to yourself with me. Break it down, ask for help, learn from the drops, and let it go. And when we really embrace these 4 principles, we now have an action plan. We have a support team. We have a process or a system, and we're open to positive change. This is really the definition of continuous improvement. And this is really the only way to embrace all this change and to never stop learning and keep up with the velocity of change that is happening around us right now. So what I'd like to do in the last few minutes that we have together is invite you, if you'd like to just mime it with me, and I'm going to do a little bit of juggling and just have you sort of walk through the process, because it's so important, I believe, to internalize these principles physically. If you have any juggling balls sitting around or rolled up socks, grab them. But I'll just do a quick little demo to finish us off. And as I said, we start off with 1 ball. We break it down and we focus on that peak. If you notice, I don't look down at my hands. I look at the top to see where the ball's going, and then my brain can do the work to help me to catch it. So it's so important to know where to focus and to focus on one thing at a time, even though there's a lot going on around us. And this can actually be very meditative. So I invite you to, after the call, go find some juggling balls and do this on your own if you're not joining in right now. But it can really be very meditative, and it's really a focused meditation, a moving meditation that can help you to regain some balance. When you take that second ball, now a lot of people want to do this. How many of you, be honest, have ever done this and say, look, I'm juggling? Well, this is kind of cheating because I'm handing 1 ball across. You see that? I'm just throwing one and handing the other one across. And what you need to be able to do is to throw both balls up into the air. Cross, cross, catch, catch. Now, a lot of people have great difficulty doing this because they're stuck, right? They're stuck in this pattern of doing this. And what's really interesting is as I'm teaching, a lot of the times I have to have people switch which hand they start with. So we all usually start with our dominant hand, and we fall into this pattern. If they switch and start with their less dominant hand, often they're more able to do that crossing pattern because they're a little less programmed. So it's a great lesson, to kind of reprogram ourselves and learn to look at the whole picture of what's going on and what might be causing certain things. When we take that third ball, and of course we're getting help, right? We're using both of our hands now. We're learning from the drops, and the process or the system, you can see I'm building that up, right? I do 2, cross, cross, catch, catch. I've built that process, and now there's a space where I can just simply add in that third ball, and I continue the same pattern: cross, 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 cross. So I'm going to end there with that. I want to, really just invite all of you to, I want to send you out knowing that you can really redefine what's possible, and just invite you to keep learning, to keep embracing that idea of continuous learning and improvement as we navigate this new world together. So thanks, Dianne, for having me.
Jen, thanks so much, and thank you for bringing up the word nimble in your presentation, because we're all vulnerable, but that's what makes us human, and that's what gives us the greatest connections. So I want to thank you